Coming from the global south, one thing that I've encountered as I started to work in the TTRPG industry is a clear disconnect between our conception of rules and the rules as conceived by the dominant cultures. So let's set some bits straight. A game mechanic is a subtype of rules. Rules are mores that revolve not just around game systems, but also about cultures of play, socialization, etiquette, etc. Within the context of play, all rules we observe can be placed within a gradient of consent or coercion. Your game group, for example, may have a rule on what involves picking a game to play. Maybe the rule is everyone is busy but Nick, and Nick happens to know a lot about TTRPGs, so we're good with whatever game he chooses. As long as that's understood, that in itself is part of your culture of play, by the way, you can say that the game rules you'll be playing with are generally consensual. If, however, there's a shitty dynamic in which, say, Nick happens to be the only person who has a place where you guys can meet at, and he leverages this to subtly push others into playing whatever he wants, then we have a play culture that is partaking significantly in coercive rules. This feeling of coercivity will thus very likely translate into a feeling of the game rules themselves, the ones written in the rulebook, being coercive, when in fact those rules really have no power over you. They become a tool against you because of your shitty group and the fact that you guys cannot have a proper conversation about Nick's attitude. You can think of more consensual or more coercive rules in so many dimensions of games. For example, the rules that dictate when people at your group leave work and become available to play can definitely ripple and have an impact on your perception of what the rules of the book have. Maybe Sarah works late hours at the cafe and arrives always an hour late. And as much as you and your friends reassure her that it's fine, you notice she tends to be very silent whenever you guys talk about picking a new game to play. Is Sarah carrying weight of guilt because she arrives late? A feeling she's trying to counter by denying herself agency in the process of making decisions? See what I mean? There are here societal rules, even rules tied to guilt, that directly affect gaming dynamics. So, why can people fault the rules in a book for their societal woes, you may ask? Well, first of all, unlike societal norms, rules of etiquette and the like, the key idea behind game rules is that they ought to create pro-social environments. After all, a game is fun because it offers much more agency, in stark contrast to everyday life under monopolies of violence. Outside the game, you exist under rules you didn't make nor consent to, forced to see people you don't want to see, and to do it when you'd rather be doing something else. In-game, ideally, you get together with people you want to see under rules everyone agrees to, and within a time frame that is much more within your control. You can just leave the game or start a bit later. This is why there's always high expectations for game rules to deliver the promise of a pro-social space, and so people may blame the game first when the experience turns sour. But not just that, it is also because blaming these rules is much easier for us socially stunted late capitalist humans than to address Sarah's feelings earnestly and to have an honest talk that is more about helping her feel right and less about us doing the bare minimum so that we can tell ourselves, oh well, we tried to accommodate her, it is what it is.